Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly. In the Miller Time segment tonight, Assistant Secretary of State Michael Posner told Foreign Policy magazine that his take on the Arizona illegal alien law, where he seemed to imply the nation was discriminatory, is being misinterpreted somehow. You may remember Posner saying this about bringing up the Arizona law while discussing human rights with the Chinese.
We brought it up early and often. It was mentioned in the first session, and as a troubling trend in our society, and an indication that we have to deal with issues of discrimination or potential discrimination.
Joining us now from Los Angeles, the sage of Southern California, Dennis Miller. You know, it was all a mistake. He was just misinterpreted, Miller. You know that? Come on, don't pick on him.
You know, there are methamphetamine addicts with a dreidel who don't spin that hard. When was the last time anybody around Barack Obama, by the way, was in context? These guys got to get an OnStar button and find out where context is, because they're always being taken out of context. I got what he said there. You got a mid-level hack apparatchik apple polisher, and all of a sudden he's apologizing to China, who periodically are playing whack-a-mole in Tiananmen Square with students. He's apologizing. These aren't even necessary apologies. These are preemptive apologies. I thought they weren't for preemption. You know, early and often is their equivalent of shock and awe, and I'm getting sick of them apologizing for us.
Well, he
Why don't
even
we just
admitted,
get a groveling czar?
Posner even admitted the Chinese didn't even bring it up. He brought it up. So it was like, okay, before we get to the concentration camps where you put people in there if they say anything bad about the government, before we get to you invading Tibet and executing anybody you want in there, and before we get to any illegal alien crossing from North Korea into China gets a bullet in the head, before we get into any of that, our Arizona law, which isn't even in effect yet, very discriminatory. Come on, Miller, you know that's diplomacy. You got to do that.
I think the Chinese thought that he was putting them on. I swear to God, when he walked out of the room, I said, is he goofing on us? Is he testing us? Because that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, that's right. We're not so bad.
Can I tell you something, Bill? It took me 16 months to figure out this administration, but I'm going to put it on the line. I gave him a wide berth, as you have. But I'm at the point right now I'm willing to say on national television, I think on his bad days, President Obama and his administration are ashamed of this country. I think on his best days, he's embarrassed by it. Do I think he's capable of being proud of this country? I do, but only when he gets it looking exactly as he thinks it should look. And I don't like that precedent.
Well,
I'm for the country in general.
Here on my side, it's running down to me. I mean, when a guy like Posner, if you look at his background, we did this yesterday, he's as far left as you can get. I mean, he could go camping with Hugo Chavez, and they both have a great time around a campfire. I mean, that's how far left this guy is. What is he doing there? And we're going to have P.J. Crowley from the State Department on the Factor on Friday, and he'll tell us. Okay, Reverend Wright is back in the news. A letter that he wrote was obtained by the Associated Press, which means they probably broke into Wright's house and took it from his library. And it says, the letter says, that Wright believes the president threw him under a bus and hates him, and fear and loathing, and doesn't like him at all. And you say?
You know, Reverend Wright's thinking, wait a second, Posner has my man's power of attorney, and I can't get a return phone call? I mean, you know, he can't believe that he's been kicked out, but I think guys like he and Ayers have to realize that Barack Obama is the space shuttle, and they're fuel pods. And he needed to get out of orbit in Chicago. They got him out of orbit, and they can officially consider themselves jettisoned. And you know something? When I see the Rev getting angry about this, I think, wait a second. You didn't misinterpret the fact that you married him, baptized his kids, he called you his spiritual mentor, and he sat in your church for 20 years. You didn't take that to mean that you actually mattered to him, did you? He couldn't be there to help you out, Rev. He was too busy helping Arlen Specter get reelected.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, how can you justify a Reverend Wright saying all the stuff he said? You can't. Not as President of the United States. You could as a community activist.
How can you justify Posner apologizing to China for us?
You can't.
You know what's happened
It was
here
misinterpreted.
I have Jewish friends who are walking back their Barack Obama vote to me. And I bet you in New York, a lot of those the guys who contribute to Barack Obama are walking their vote back. And that's why the Rev's never going to get a return phone call, because he's the one who thinks Jews have horns, and they're never going to get in bed with him again because they've already alienated the Jewish people who were behind him the last time through.
All right. Now, finally, you saw the Barack Obama Calderon press conference. We used a little bit of it a few minutes ago, and you say?
Well, really awkward moment at the press conference when Calderon accidentally knocked his podium over and the 6 illegals spilled out. But thank God Barack was there with the Wonka tickets to make them all immigration czars, cover the whole situation up.
Anything else? Do you have any other observations on this?
I just like it when he's here because I like to hear American newscasters do the politically correct pronunciation. Calderon! All of a sudden, everybody's Cervantes. Listen, I got a fix for this whole thing. You go to Calderon and you say, listen, we're going to give you money to build a wall on the inside of your property to keep us out because we're all dying to get down to Mexico. That's what we say ostensibly, and then we use the wall the other way.
Put yourself in Calderon's shoes for a second. Guy's doing a good job against the cartels. I mean, he's trying. He's the only Mexican president in our lifetime who's ever tried to get that under control. So you got to give him props for that. And he says to himself, look, if I don't get the $1 billion that the illegal aliens send home to mom, dad, the wife, and kids, if I don't get that money, $1 billion, into the system here in Mexico, we're through. We're through. So you got to understand it from Calderon's point of view. He's going to, do everything he can to get as many illegal aliens from his country in here. And that's why don't they just be honest about it? Just be honest about it. Sort of the charade,
well, Billy, I'll go with you as far as to say he's trying. Do I think he's doing a good job? No. Mexico right now makes the last 15 minutes of Scarface look like Sound of Music. So he's trying. Do I think he's doing a great job? No. Is he ever going to come clean with you? Yeah. You want the president admitting that you got to send people out of your country to get money to come back there or you're going under? I don't think that augurs well for a second term. So I think Calderon's going to stay on the down low, like you just said.
All right. It's, I respect the man, though, because he's doing something that puts his life in danger. And, I just wish he could do a little bit better. As you said. Miller, as always.